Good morning, everybody, and welcome again to another edition of Park Roots. Happy New Year. My name is Carman. I'm the Director of Education and Programming here at the Parklands. And I've worked out here for about 8 years, and I've had a lot of great experiences, been able to see a lot of really beautiful things here in the park, wildflowers blooming, trees changing in the fall, beautiful fish, all kinds of great natural happenings. However, last week was one of my favorite moments. I got here a little bit early before work and decided to take a birding walk. And as I was out walking through the Savannah Grand LA, I saw a bald eagle fly over my head. I tracked it up to a branch in a sycamore tree just off of Floyd's Fork and sat there watching. It was a very peaceful, tranquil moment for me. And just as I was about getting ready to leave, another bald eagle flew over my head and landed in the tree next to it. And so it was just a really unique experience, and one that I'm very grateful to have had here in the park, but one that I would not have had if it hadn't been for birding. So a hobby that I've gotten into over the past few years. And that is where our topic is today, is Birding 101. So if you've ever thought about getting into birding or trying it out, here's what you need to know to get started. So my first piece of advice is that you need curiosity. So some type of bird or habitat's got to drive your curiosity to get out there. For me, it was the great blue heron. I see herons out in here in the Parklands quite often. They're really big birds, have long wingspan, big tall legs. They like to hunt in wetland areas, and they're really unique looking birds to me, and so they really drove my curiosity to get out and find some more. And so as you get curious about maybe specific birds, you'll start looking for field guides. So things that are going to help you identify birds while you're in the field, also give you some information on their physical characteristics, their habitat, things like that. A couple options for field guides you've got. So this is a paper field guide that I've got, Birds of North America, Ken Kaufman. It's a great resource to have with you in the field. You can throw it in your backpack. However, I will say over the past year or two, I've been using an app much more often than the book. It's a little bit less cumbersome to take with you in the field, and technology has advanced so much that it's a really helpful tool in identifying birds. And that app is called Merlin Bird ID. It is produced by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, so kind of the authorities on bird science here in the country. And that app enables you to do a lot of different things. You can identify birds based on their size, their shape, their physical characteristics, what type of habitat is it in. It can also identify based on their call, their song, or by sight. So if you're close enough to snap a picture of a bird or even record their song, it can identify based off of that. So it's an incredibly useful tool. But really what I would encourage you to do, take those resources and pick out a few species of birds or maybe specific habitat types that you're interested in and start doing some research. So pick out a handful of birds to study and learn first. There are over 800 species of bird in North America, so it can be really overwhelming to think about learning all of them right away. So if you take a handful that you really want to learn about and study those, start there. That's probably the best place to start. So now you've got a field guide, you've got some curiosity. The next thing you'll need to get started birding is a pair of binoculars. And now binoculars can run the gamut on size, shape, magnification strength, cost, but you don't have to break the bank unless you want to for binoculars. Anything will do. If you've got an old pair of kids' binoculars laying around, great. If you've got some opera glasses that you've had forever, those will work too. Maybe even a pirate spotting scope, that will also work. Whatever you've got to look up in a tree is going to be great. So you don't have to break the bank. You can spend all kinds of money on fantastic binoculars, but you don't have to. You'll just need one pair to get started out in the field. So, like I say, once you get into the hobby, there are a lot of things that you could spend money on. A lot of folks like to have nice camera equipment, fancier binoculars. Some folks even spend money on taking trips to see different birds throughout the world. So you can get as heavy into it as you can. You know, with any good hobby, it's got to have its gear. But to get started, really the only things that you really need are curiosity, a field guide, and binoculars. So once you've got all those things, you just need to get out and look at birds. So whether that's from your kitchen window, you can sit in your kitchen table, look out the window at your bird feeder. That's one way to see some birds. But you can also get out here to the park or in your neighborhood and look for that specific species that you're interested in out here. If you come to the Parklands, there are a lot of fantastic places to bird. Throughout the park, you'll find a wide amount of species there. So we've had over 161 species identified in the park so far. But my favorite places to bird here in the park are the Humana Grand LA and Beckley Creek Park, and also Seton Valley and Turkey Run Park. And mainly because those two places have great edge habitat. And what I mean by edge habitat are that different types of habitat kind of merge together in one spot. So if you think about the Humane and Grand LA, it's got a great meadow area. It also comes up to some forested area as well, and also right along the creek. So we've got riparian and water-based habitat. We've got meadow. We've also got forest. And so when we've got 3 different habitat types all coming together, you're going to have a lot of diverse species using that area, because you'll have our water birds, our forest birds, and meadow birds all kind of interacting with each other in one spot. So if you come birding here in the park, I would definitely start in either the Grand LA and Beckley Creek Park, or in the Seton Valley in Turkey Run. But like I said, you really can't go wrong anywhere out here with birding. So after you've listened to all of this, you may be thinking, all right, Curtis, this is great, sounds awesome. It's wintertime though, it's really cold outside. Is this really the best time for me to start birding? Yes, it's actually one of the best times to learn how to bird, because number one, there's no leaves on our trees, right? It's easy to see up in the tree where that bird is perched. You can see their colors, the size a little bit better, so it's a lot easier to identify birds in the wintertime because there's no leaves on our trees hindering us. And also, a lot of our migrant species have already left for the year, gone to warmer climates, and so we're left with many of our year-round residents. And so learning some of those year-round birds that you're going to see all the time throughout the year is a great place to start as well. Things like northern cardinals, or herons, or nuthatches, things that are here in the park all year long, those are great places to start. If you're not sure you want to go birding by yourself, there's a great community of birders here in Louisville as well. So if you're looking for a birding buddy, we've got some options for you there. The Beckham Bird Club is kind of the amateur bird club here in Louisville. They offer outings once a week that are led by very experienced birders. They can help you identify birds. They oftentimes take place here in the park, as well as many other places in the city. Here at the park, we also have a lot of resources. In February next month, we're going to be hosting a program on Saturday, February 12th, called the Great Backyard Bird Count, and we're going to be participating in the Audubon Society's backyard bird count that they do every February. And so that program basically is encouraging anybody and everybody to get out and count birds for citizen science. So we're going to be leading hikes at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 11 o'clock on February 12th in Broad Run Park from the Cliffside Center, where we're going to go out, identify as many species as we can, and then we will use an app called eBird, another Cornell app, to record those species for citizen science. And all of that data is used by those scientists to understand trends in bird population, in climate change, and many other things. And so it's incredibly useful data that we're going to all help gather and also learn a little bit about birds while we're out there. So whether you get out birding by yourself, come out in February, or even just sit at your kitchen table and look out your window, I encourage you to start birding. It's an incredibly rewarding hobby, and one that you can do throughout your whole life. So please get out there and get started. Thanks so much for watching another edition of Park Roots today. Again, my name is Curtis. The Parklands is a donor-supported public park. We don't receive any tax dollars for our operations. So thank you for watching today, and thank you for supporting us. I look forward to seeing you all next month for Park Roots again. In the meantime, happy birding.